So anyway, how many's taken any programming languages before? You've taken any programming language? I know a few of you have. I've had a couple of you. So we're going to talk about code today and why it's important for in everything we do in life. Code is involved somewhere, and we're going to kind of weave it here today in this presentation. How I believe code does make your life easier. So everyone should learn to code, I believe. And a number of other folks believe that as well. You'll hear in just a second. But it's important that you at least understand the logic, and I'll talk in just a little bit, and I think Stephanie's been promoting for me with you guys the Hour of Code that's in December 12th, which is Saturday. It's pretty much almost full already. It's from 8 to 12:30, 8 in the morning to 12:30 in the afternoon. 4 20-seat slots are almost full, and then they're out of 300 online slots, which I think we have 50-some filled up right now, which is pretty awesome. But anyway, the goal is for folks like Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, President Barack Obama. I'm trying to think of there's a hip-hop singer that's coding now as well. Black Eyed Peas, the lead singer of Black Eyed Peas. I never forget it. I never remember his name. Anyway, he's coding, and so they all do videos and done tons of outreach to get kids of all ages from 4 to 104 to start coding, basically, and learning some aspect of coding. Because you'll see in just a second, we're in a dearth when it comes to developers here in the U.S. compared to what we're going to need by 2025. And so we need more developers. Women developers, men developers, all types of developers. So I have some videos, and I did test the sound, so hopefully it's all working, so we'll find out here.
Hey everybody. This week I'm proud to join the students, teachers, businesses, and nonprofit organizations taking big new steps to support computer science in America's schools. Learning these skills isn't just important for your future, it's important for our country's future. If we want America to stay on the cutting edge, we need young Americans like you to master the tools and technology that will change the way we do just about everything. That's why I'm asking you to get involved. Don't just buy a new video game, make one. Don't just download the latest app, help design it. Don't just play on your phone, program it. No one's born a computer scientist, but with a little hard work and some math and science, just about anyone can become one. This week is your chance to give it a shot. And don't let anyone tell you you can't. Whether you're a young man or a young woman, whether you live in a city or a rural area, computers are going to be a big part of your future. And if you're willing to work and study hard, that future is yours to shape. Thanks, everybody.
I thought that was a pretty awesome video by a president.
I think everybody in this country
I've seen this guy before.
Program a computer. Should learn a computer language because it teaches you how to think. And so I view computer science as a liberal art. It should be something that everybody takes a year in their life. One of the courses they take is, learning how to program.
So when I tell students or anyone that's thinking about programming, I always say, do you like to solve puzzles? That's one of the first things I ask them. If they say yes, you might try programming. It might be something you're really interested in doing. And a lot of people actually do love to solve puzzles that have never tried to program or code anything. But if I was to ask a raise of hands, we'll just do it right now. How many of you love to do puzzles? Any type of puzzles, you love it. More than likely, you would love some level or be interested in some level of coding then. And really all it is figuring out how to solve a problem at hand that you have, is what an application coder does. Regardless of what the language is, you're solving a problem for whatever need is presently there. So here's my definition of kind of a take up on Steve Jobs. Mine is take a problem you have, try to create an app to solve that problem, or at best, make it easier to manage. So if you can't solve it, manage it. Manage that issue, manage that whatever it might be that you're having issues with. We'll today I'm going to show you some apps I've created over the years that have solved problems, including ending with DESTIR, which is the most recent programming for DESTIR the robot. Notice the timeline as it's going down. How the desk empties up and technology replaces all the things that we used to have on our desk. Quite a stark contrast of what our desk used to look like 20 years ago in the USA, in America, in the world, and what it looks like today. And so right there we could stop there and go, okay, everybody start coding. Do I know? I did, yeah. In fact, this whole video, this presentation I'll give to Stephanie, and it's being recorded as well. So you'll have a link of the recording plus the Prezi for all the videos that are embedded. Okay, anybody watch the new Supergirl series? It's pretty awesome, actually. I was pretty impressed. I'm a DC Comics guy, buff, and my wife even loves the series, and it's got a good storyline. But, you know, everybody's kind of, you know, you've heard this, you know, the question people ask sometimes, and well, you know, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? Well, let's go around the room real quick and find out what that one superpower would be. If you could have a superpower, what would it be? Now, I'll go ahead and start out. Mine would be time travel. Now, there'll be pluses and minuses of time travel. I'd love to be able to time travel forward and back, both. And again, we get the ramifications of, you know, you could change something. But I think it's going to be cool to time travel. To go back and to see my grandpa when he was a little kid. To see my mom when she was running around as a teenager when she said she never got in trouble. You know, stuff like that. To kind of, you know, see snapshots of people in my family and friends and stuff. So I'll go around the room real quick. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? So we'll start here. Just work our way around. Oh, like Beam Me Up Scotty. Transportation. Oh yeah, that's cool. Telekinesis. Oh yeah, reading somebody's mind. Oh, awesome. No, that's moving objects, right? What's one I'm thinking of? What's that? Not telekinesis. Telekinesis is where you move objects, right, with your mind. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you can read my mind. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Yeah. Teleport. There you go. All right. You don't know. Don't know. That's fine. Yeah, there you go.
Because I like to have the
power of making everybody happy. That'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be great.
I would prefer with the healing touch.
Yes, be able to heal people. That'd be awesome. Yeah, Stephanie.
I was thinking
Teleporting, awesome.
There's so many things.
Yeah, well, we all dream, I think, or think of at times, you know, if I had a superpower, you know, like Bruce Almighty was a movie, you know, it was one of the scenes in the Bruce Almighty was where Jim Carrey was in traffic and he just went like this and all the traffic parted and he got to go down in the middle of the street. That'd be awesome sometime, right? And all the lights are green and everything. And life's not like that, but it'd be awesome if we had that kind of superpower. So, do you want superpowers? Well, if you do, one of the ways really today to have a superpower, if you think about it, is coding. Because you can literally create something that does not yet exist. Some app, some website that does not yet exist to make people's lives easier, right? We've all experienced it. I could go around the room and you could tell me apps you use, whether it be on the web or on your phone, that you just love, you use all the time. Whether it be communication type apps, whether it be travel apps, whether it be news apps, whether it be photo apps, whatever the genre, game apps, that, you know, really have changed your life as far as made your life easier in some aspect? Another video.
I was 13 when I first got access to a computer.
My parents bought me a Macintosh in 1984 when I was 8 years old.
I was in the 6th grade.
I learned to code in college, freshman year, first semester, intro to computer science.
I wrote a program that played tic-tac-toe.
I think it was pretty humble beginnings. I think the first program I wrote asked things like, what's your favorite color? Or how old are you?
I first learned how to make a green circle and a red square appear on the screen.
The first time I actually had something come up and say, hello world, and I made a computer do that. It was just astonishing.
Learning how to program didn't start off as wanting to learn all of computer science or trying to master this discipline or anything like that. It just started off because I wanted to do this one simple thing. I wanted to make something that was fun for myself and my sisters. And I wrote this little program and then basically just added a little bit to it. And then when I needed to learn something new, I looked it up either in a book or on the internet and then added a little bit to it.
It's really not unlike kind of playing an instrument or something, or playing a sport. It starts out being very intimidating, but you kind of get the hang of it over time.
Coding is something that can be learned, and I know it can be intimidating. A lot of things are intimidating, but you know, what isn't?
A lot of the coding that people do is actually fairly simple. It's more about the process of breaking down problems than you know, sort of coming up with complicated algorithms as people traditionally think about it.
You don't have to be a genius to know how to code. You need to be determined.
Addition, subtraction, that's about it.
You should probably know your multiplication tables.
You don't have to be a
I love
genius to
that
code.
one.
You have to be a genius to read.
Even if you want to become a race car driver or play baseball, or you know, build a house, and all of these things have been turned upside down by software.
What it is, you know, computers are everywhere. You want to work in agriculture? Do you want to work in entertainment? Do you want to work in manufacturing? It's just all over.
Here we are, 2013. We all depend on technology.
That's the guy I forgot, Will I Am. That's who it was I was thinking of.
Information, and none of us know how to read and write code.
When I was in school, I was in this after-school group called the WIT Kids, and when people found out, they laughed at me, and you know, all these things. And I'm like, man, I don't care. I think it's cool, and you know, I'm learning a lot, and some of my friends have jobs.
Our policy is literally to hire as many talented engineers as we can find. The whole limit of the system is just that there just aren't enough people who are trained and have these skills today.
To get the very best people, we try to make the office as awesome as possible.
We're going to ask President Mike for some of this stuff.
You have a fantastic chef,
Free food,
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
free laundry.
Snacks, even places to play, and video games and scooters. There's all these kind of interesting things around the office, and places where people can play or relax, or go to think, or play music, or be creative.
Whether you're trying to make a lot of money or whether you just want to change the world, computer programming is an incredibly empowering skill to learn.
I think if someone had told me that software is really about humanity, that it's really about helping people by using computer technology, it would have changed my outlook a lot earlier.
To be able to actually come up with an idea and then see it in your hands and then be able to press a button and have it be in millions of people's hands. I mean, I think we're the first generation in the world that's really ever had that kind of experience.
Just to think that you can start something in your college dorm room and you can have a set of people who haven't built a big company before come together and built something that 1 billion people use as part of their daily lives is just crazy to think about, right? It's humbling and it's amazing.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You know, you're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
It's amazing. I think it's the closest thing we have to a superpower.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
And if Will.i.am says it, hey, it's it. Only 1 in 4 schools teach computer science today, K through 12, and even college universities. Code.org is an excellent resource, by the way. If you can remember that one, jot it down. It'll be on the video. But how many has brothers, sisters that are still, or maybe siblings? Nobody has to be brothers and sisters. Cousins, extended relatives that are in K through 12 right now. You're in K through 12 somewhere. Okay. Well, this is a picture of some kids with computer, and they're really into some programming. They're doing some programming at a young age, and that's really the target audience that computer science is really wanting to target is K through 12. If we can get the passion at a young age for coding, then when they get to post-secondary decisions of what courses they want to take, it'll be more prevalent instead of, as we see today, a decline in programming from all genres and all generations. So more jobs and students is the issue. America needs more developers is really what it comes down to. This graph shows by 2025 or 2020, there'll be 1.4 million brand new computing jobs, but only 400,000 computer science students graduating with programming skills. If it keeps going the way it's going, the graph of increase. And so $500 billion opportunity. Jobs are growing at 2 times the national average than in any other field when it comes to the area of programming. Long-term solution, I believe, is exposing students to programming at an earlier age, which is being done in some K through 12, some pilot type of schools, and have some type of programming courses, programming logic courses, where students can take. There's a program you saw in the video of things, people dragging blocks. That was called Scratch, the program called Scratch, developed by MIT, literally for kindergartners to learn programming. And code.org, all the apps on there for the challenge in December is built upon Scratch and Blockly, which are just drag and drop type of events to make an app work. So long term, get involved in K through 12. Short term would be to get the word out to today's high school students about, and college students, beginning college students, of the multiple job opportunities that are out there now and in the future. Encourage them to focus on programming degree. It might be switching their passion from some field to another, like I did years ago. Another tool in helping accomplishing is through code.org. Go to Hour of Code and challenge yourself and those around you to take an hour of your life this year and do something in code. Make something. There's over 50 tutorials on code.org that allows you to choose from. If you do sign up, by the way, if you go to myrvc.org, you don't have to remember that long URL, by the way. If you just go to myrvc.org and click on the RSVP link, you can RSVP for an online hour of code. And what I'll do is reply back to you towards the end of November with over 40 tutorials to choose from of every different type of tutorial you can think of. And most all the tutorials are drag and drop type of events. And at the end of the tutorial, you actually get a certificate of completion that you created this app on your own. Most steps are about 10 to 12 steps to create it, to create the app, and you've completed it, along with tens of millions of other people around the world. And who knows, you might get a passion to get into programming. There's tons of resources out there to learn code on your own or to take a class. on your own here at Rock Valley or elsewhere. So examples, I'm going to give you some examples of code solving problems. That's my definition of what coding does. It solves problems. And so the first one's My Attendance. My Attendance is an app I've been using for about 3 years. I developed it. Paul Newell is an adjunct here. He's been using it here on campus. Plus, he teaches at Kishwaukee College with a number of students there and uses this and helps me he's been helping me kind of debug the app and get it really nice and without any issues. And I actually created a group for you guys, Women in Technology, and did a screenshot of it. We used this in the Employee Development Day this last semester with over 600 people connected to it, and it worked like a charm. And so use a QR code that's emailed to you, and then you scan the QR code as you come into a class or a business meeting, and it takes attendance basically. That's all it does. And then it does reporting as well, where you can generate reports by last session, over the last month, the last year, and it shoots an Excel spreadsheet of those in attendance. So very simplistic idea, but solving a problem of attendance in a class, and even in meetings, sometimes takes 10 minutes for attendance. It shouldn't take that long. Just have an app in front of the room. People use their QR code on their phone, which most of my students do. This app emails them the QR code, and they just come in and they train the first week to do it, and that's how they basically say they're there. And I use it for all of my courses face-to-face. So that's a screenshot of the app. Memory Maze is another one I created. This one's actually to get information from students. Anybody remember the game Flappy Birds? Or you heard the game Flappy Birds? It's a real popular craze. It was actually a homeless guy that created it, and it got so overwhelmed with the demand of the game, he quit developing and got out of it. He made something like $7 million in about 6 months. And he learned how to code and had this idea, and somebody helped him, and he published it to the Apple App Store, and it went like crazy. And so, but anyway, we created an app to students in CIS 280, which does mobile app development, created a Flappy Bird type app, but it uses a USB thumb drive instead of a bird to fly through a series of memory modules on a motherboard. Once they succeed through a game level, and the levels we chose was easy, medium, and yeah, right, was the 3 levels. So finally, when they get to the app, at the end, when they fill out a form, the app creates a custom web page for the student that's at say we have it at a conference or we go to a high school. It creates a custom web page, emails it to that student, and within that custom web page has links to all of our courses here on campus, has a link to a live chat feature. They can chat with Stephanie or myself immediately. And it's built on a Swift programming language built by Apple, created by Apple about 1.5 years ago, and it's published onto an iPad. Here's what the screen looks like there on that app. And you'll notice the USB thumb drive going through, and you just basically tap your finger on the screen, and it makes the thumb drive go up and down, and you try to get through the maze. Pretty simple, again. Then the latest one is Learn Code. I created this one to help with the December event for Hour of Code. I wanted to create an iPad app that has a Barack Obama video at the front end of the president, has another video of tutorial for Flappy Birds from the developer, and then the student's able to create an app with 10 steps. And at the last step, when they finish, they can email that app to somebody else. They can put in somebody's phone number. It'll send it to their phone. And it's literally an app they created of a Flappy Bird type of app. And this is basically what it looks like on the front end. And they click Begin on the upper right corner. The video of President Barack Obama pops up. They watch that. Then another video pops up of the developer of Flappy Birds using Blockly. and then it goes through 10 steps of creation. And when you're finished, you can send it to your friends and family. What's cool about the ones is that you send to your friends and family, like on your phone. It'll play on any phone, by the way. It also has a link in that app to create their own app after they get it. So it's kind of keep going on and on and on the trail. So here is a screenshot of what the app looks like towards the end, around number 9, I think it is. And it's in the iPad. I'm showing this. At the top, you'll see where it says Learn Code at Rock Valley College. And literally, you drag and drop events. It tells you on the left side there what to do. Like this one is to mix things up when hitting an obstacle. Instead of ending the game, try setting it back to 0. Well, when you do that, you can literally run through obstacles and the game doesn't end, which you normally wouldn't have in a game, but you could do that if you wanted to. And so once you drag blocks from the left side there into the right side, you literally hit start and see how it works and test it. And then it takes you to the next level. So the latest web app I've created this semester is actually a sprout off of TechScope Tuesday, which Stephanie actually been helping me with that. She interviewed Kelly Cooper here on campus yesterday. Basically what TechScope Tuesday is interviewing RVC faculty, administrative, students for 15 minutes on who these people are, what they like, what their likes are, what their hobbies are, and that's it. That's all it is. It's very laid back. But I found a resource. Originally I was going to use, anybody heard of Periscope app, the video Periscope app? I found a resource called appear.in. It's a website you can actually go to after the session today. And basically what it allows you to do is with appear.in, you can set up a room name of whatever you want. So if your family's last name is Smith, you can set up a room name called Smith. You could reserve it as your room now, give that link to everybody in your family, and they could click on the link all at once, and all they have to have is a camera and a mic on a computer or a phone, and they can all chat immediately with video on one screen and see each other's face immediately. So you can literally connect up to 8 users in under a minute, no login. It's awesome. So I used appear.in logic, but wrapped it with some HTML, CSS, some JavaScript to make it look really nice. And anyway, here's what the office hours screen looks like. I literally did this today with Sam McKenzie. He was working today in Rockford at his work. And I said, hey, Sam, can you log into this link real quick? And I want to take a screenshot to show everybody what it looks like. So he's at his job. I'm there at my day job programming. And I did a screenshot. And that's what it looks like. But I can keep adding up to 8 connections in that web page easily. If you want to know the code for this and how I did it, I created a tutorial, real simple tutorial that anybody can use. And literally all you have to do is change the stuff at the bottom, the room name in the code, and that's it. And you can use it on your own website. So I'm using this as a pilot this semester for online office hours, where students can pop in during online office hours. And it's one thing to talk to a student on an email or phone, but when you literally see their face, it makes a whole world of difference, especially in online classes. And so it's been working really well. Yes?
Does it just allow you the capability of like video and audio?
Yeah, that's it. Video, audio. Simple, basic stuff. And there's no authentication to have to remember or log into. But they do allow you to reserve a room, and then you reserve it. Once you reserve it, it's reserved to your email, I think, or phone number, and then it's yours from that point on. And then you can use it for whatever purpose you want to use it for. Telepresence is the robot that we have here, DESTIR. You've heard of DESTIR. And you might have seen DESTIR at some events, and I'm going to go through some of them today. But basically, DESTIR is another code project. This was developed by 4 programmers and robotics students in San Jose, California. I got to know him about 2.5 years ago via email and helped him a little bit with some coding for iOS, for iPads and iPhones. And so they built DESTIR, the wheels, which is kind of like Segway wheels, with an iPad on top of Segway wheels with a telescopic arm, basically is all it is. Now it's much more complex than that, but simplistically, that's how I describe it to people. So it's like FaceTime on a Segway wheel. So if anybody done Skype in here, if you've done Skype or FaceTime in here, put that on a stick with the Segway wheels at the bottom, you have DESTIR. But DESTIR is allowed to give people physical presence at work, school, or events, even when they can't be there. It's created by Double Robotics, being utilized in school districts, businesses, hospitals, and Rock Valley College was the first college in the state to host DESTIR, or the Double Robot. It's being used at Rock Valley College presently. We've had it since last December to visit classrooms, guest speakers we've had come in, hosting campus clubs, giving campus tours. We've done that. DESTIR's also been used by guest speakers that can't make it. And those are out-of-state students and then disabled students, the ability to have face-to-face. Now, here's really exciting. I talked to Lynn from Disabilities yesterday, Monday, and we're going to be doing a pilot with DESTIR next semester with students with disabilities, not just physical disabilities, but could be mental disability, could be some phobias they might have possibly. Anyway, we're going to create a way for teachers at Rock Valley to all know that this is available, because as a faculty member, I can tell disabilities folks, hey, this student might need some help in this area, and they'll get in contact with that student. That way I don't have to, embarrass a student or anything. Because sometimes students aren't aware of some of the things we have available for them in disabilities. It could be a hearing aid, it could be a recording of some type, whatever. So this is another tool where a student could literally be homebound, would be sent a link with instructions. The link is, again, they don't have to authenticate. When they click on it through Chrome web browser, they just have to have a camera and a mic, and we'll have DESTIR at the end row of a class on the first row. They'll come in, they'll be at sitting level, because DESTIR can go at sitting level and at standing level both. Be at sitting level. And Stephanie mentioned that DESTIR was here last night, and the reason I brought DESTIR last night was Sam McKenzie, the student you saw on the screen earlier, I had him remote in to figure out ways that those people remoting in with disabilities, or those, even anybody, could maybe ask a question without being embarrassed with DESTIR. So we thought of an idea, or Sam actually came up with the idea, and a couple other students, which was a strobing red button that has, you've heard of a notification from your phone when you get like a text message or an email, something simple like that, to where it's not too overbearing, but the faculty member in the classroom can hear it and note it and make attention to that student that might have a question. And then DESTIR does have a speaker, and DESTIR can see what's going on in the classroom. And one of the added benefits Lynn really liked that DESTIR allows us to do is I can video record the entire session, and at the end of the session, it saves it to the student's desktop at home, and it also saves it on the iPad, and it can also be emailed to those in disabilities area if they want it. And so we're going to be piloting that next semester. We'll figure out all the logistics of how a student can sign up for this. There will be a training time, like a playground where they can come in and learn how to drive DESTIR around. So just so you know, and that was one of my passions when I first wrote the grant to get DESTIR over a year ago, was to use it. It's cool to have speakers come in. It is. It's cool to have President Mike speak with DESTIR. That's awesome. And we've had like Mike Slabowski from Transform Rockford and the developer of DESTIR come in. Those are all pretty awesome. But to me, something about the teacher in me and the, I guess, the compassionate part of me would love to see us use it in a target audience, those with disabilities, that is currently not being used, and DESTIR fits right into that target audience. And a student could literally show up in a class, log in 15 minutes before it starts, talk to students around them, sit and listen to the lecture, talk to the faculty afterwards, and the session would end automatically at the 15 minutes after the session's over. And then we'll have somebody come and grab DESTIR, secure them in a location. And if it goes well next semester, my vision is to have disabilities have about 6 of these to be able to put anywhere on campus. They'd be trained how to use it. And then also all the FSOs here on campus to have in the office, like Joan in our division, to have a couple of DESTIRs to be able to put in classrooms for guest speakers, students that are sick, even faculty maybe that can't make it for whatever reason, but they're fine, you know, they maybe like me, my knee possibly, and I could use DESTIR to teach a class possibly. And so that's exciting to me, as you can probably see, to use DESTIR as with those with disability and be able to take a face-to-face course. And I was talking to Lynn, I've envisioned using this when I was talking to those in admissions. Could you imagine having a student taking a 2-year that otherwise couldn't face-to-face course with DESTIR, and then at the end use DESTIR to roll across the stage to get their diploma? That would be awesome. That maybe otherwise would never be able to do that, would never be able to have that experience. And DESTIR allows you to do that. And you'll see a video in a second of what DESTIR is. Some of you have not seen them. There's DESTIR right there. This is actually dated March of this year. I am visiting the classroom and teaching it for about 30 minutes in one of my classes, answering some student questions, being able to go up and down the hall, walkway of the classroom, have free reign. It's literally, you're controlling DESTIR with the up arrow, down arrow, left and right arrow. That's all you'd have to do. This is Erin Fisher, teaches psychology class here. DESTIR visited her class, and the student that remoted into DESTIR actually had a question. Erin answered the question. We had DESTIR at the end of the classroom at the front, and students kind of looked at DESTIR when they came in, but there's nothing. When Erin started teaching, you know, she got her teacher voice on. It was teach time. It was, you know, time to learn some stuff. And so she treated DESTIR as just any other student that would be in the classroom. And it worked out really well. Here is, we had an event this April. We had about 57 people show up. I invited about 7 or 8 speakers to remote in. None of these speakers had ever remoted into DESTIR at all. And about half of them were totally non-technical people. Okay? Like grandma and grandpas that never, some of them didn't have a computer at home. They had to borrow a computer to do this event. I sent them a link. When they clicked on the link, their face showed up, and then I was in front of DESTIR, and I said, okay, this is what you need to do. And they walked up and down the hall, go up and down the class room over there, talking to people. And this is actually a screen of one of the developers from Double Robotics. But all of them did great. And I had help from some student helpers here, which I've had a lot of help from students here at Rock Valley during this whole time. A lot of fun. Here's DESTIR at a directing traffic. What I did that day at Spring Development Day was you can put on DESTIR's screen a web page or anything. I put up there the schedule of events for the day in that building, in the ERC building, and I just kind of wheeled around and people could look at the schedule of events. I could answer a question they might have. And I was in another room and just wheeling around, and you notice I had a Rock Valley College green hoodie, which by the way has been replaced with an official RVC baseball jersey, which is pretty awesome. But you know, you can put whatever attire you want to on DESTIR, and there's my homemade speaker with a Cat 5 cable wrapped around its neck, but it works. DESTIR also takes a law course. He gets around campus, psych course, law course. He's sitting at Tom Alasanka's course on a Wednesday afternoon, and he's sitting there asking a question actually of Tom, and Tom's giving the answer back to the student that's remoting in. And the students are kind of snickering a little bit. You know, I don't know what to think of it. Tom didn't tell them beforehand they were coming in, and but it worked out really well. He was pretty. He liked it. He said DESTIR can come back. Then Mike Mastriani greets our audience at the 50th year thing we had for Missions Tour 2015 over in the JCSM, and we had about 125 folks that were there in that room, and Mike's there in the back top left corner of the screen there, and I'll just say, Mike didn't drive DESTIR. Andy did. Andy was at a desk driving DESTIR and literally on his knees driving DESTIR. Mike was standing up to where the camera could see you know, you can see Mike's face. But yeah, Mike did not drive DESTIR, but he did do all the speaking. But Andy did a good job driving DESTIR. Andy Dolan, by the way. Then DESTIR was at the math symposium. It's a high school math, ICTM. Here's Eric Wilson that actually drove DESTIR and did a little video. He went around the entire JCSM and was talking to people and having a fun time with it. And then college night, October 7th. This is Mike Mastriani's grandchildren, by the way. It was in this room, and all the kids could come up and get a picture with DESTIR. And they literally went behind my laptop, and their parents or grandparents, in this case, took their picture, and were able to control DESTIR as well. Had about 85 kids come through that night, and DESTIR was literally wore out at the end. The battery life lasts about 7.5 hours on one charge for both the wheels and the iPad, and we used about 6 hours of that day, something like that. But it was a lot of fun. Here's a video.
School in Illinois to use a new gadget. 23 News reporter Amanda DeVoe explains why some students will soon start seeing double.
Welcome to CIS 280. This is Professor Conkle.
It's a new way to be two places at once. The double robot is the latest gadget to help students at Rock Valley College. Professor Chuck Conkle says it's an innovative way for his students to learn. RVC is the first college in the state to have the double robot in their classrooms. This is after receiving a $2,800 grant to pay for it.
The students are going to be able to take the app that controls the double on the iPad and be able to manipulate it to fit our needs at Rock Valley.
The double robot uses the idea of telepresence, which allows someone to have a physical presence when they can't be there in person. What makes it different from apps like Skype and FaceTime is that it provides a way for students to interact with people who are on the robot's screen. Students will also get a chance to create apps using the robot in Conkle's class. While using the double robot is not as good as being there, it's the next best thing. Conkle says he wants to reinvent the learning experience for all students.
My hopes is it improves learning by allowing students that have disabilities to, whether it be a learning disability or whether it may be a student that physically cannot come on campus, be able to actually enjoy a classroom environment.
As far as the robot becoming RVC's new professor, Conkle says that's not likely.
I don't probably foresee it replacing a faculty member on campus, but I do see it helping us enrich our classes.
Providing an out-of-this-world experience right here in the state line. In Rockford, Amanda DeVoe, 23 News.
So, challenge to you. Take the hour of code, December 12th, from at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's actually 4 sessions. But if you don't want to come to campus, there's an online option. If you go to myrvc.org to RSVP, and I think we have 50 summits already enrolled out of 300. We can up that number, by the way, of 300 if we go past that. That'd be awesome if we did that. I didn't expect 50 to be on the online by now, by the way, but it is. So I was pretty excited about that. So my challenge to you is take the Hour of Code challenge. There's 40-some. The latest tutorial that just came in was a Star Wars tutorial using JavaScript, where you basically drag and drop blocks to create a Star Wars type of game. It's 10 steps. You just follow the steps, drag the block where it tells you to drag it, and at the end of it, you've created a Star Wars Jedi app. You might not be a Star Wars fan, but you might be. I don't know. That's the newest one that came in, and they're coming in all the time. There's tutorials created by Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. There's tutorials created by will.i.am, some big name folks. And there's tutorials created by folks like me at community colleges and universities around the nation that have been submitted that is also going to be used as well. And so that's my challenge to you. There's my contact information. If you need to email me about anything, website, that's my personal website, and the myrvc.org. Any questions? Yes? Yes, it is. HTML. They have an HTML, CSS tutorial for sure, definitely.
Can you
Well, you can with Blockly, yes. With Blockly and with Scratch, you can output any language you want. MIT created it to where when you drag the blocks and the app does what it does, when it exports it to whatever code you need it to be, whether it be JavaScript, HTML, PHP, which is another popular language. So yeah, definitely. So really what it is, it's stripping the learning curve of the language complexity of the language at times to just understanding programming logic. It's teaching programming logic with a drag and drop scenario to where students get excited about that. Then they go a step further once they understand programming logic to actually take a programming language class, if that makes sense. A lot of universities are using programs like Scratch and Blockly as beginning classes in CIS to help with logic, and we've talked about doing that here. And I'm going to start implementing it actually in all my developing courses the first few weeks of starting next semester with apps like Blockly and Scratch, to where students learn basic programming logic before they do any other language learning. So it'll be little mini modules that they'll do, but I think it'll help a lot. Any other questions? Some hands over here? Yeah.
Yeah, when DESTIR's in a classroom, can multiple students be logged into?
Yeah, great question. I can have up to 10 people connected to DESTIR. I can start DESTIR as the controller, right? Then I can invite in other folks, kind of like in a Google Hangout scenario. So the people in the room would only see my face, but they could hear the other 10 voices. And what's cool about that is I could be a tour guide in the building or any wherever. And as people are going, as I'm going through telling people about, oh, this room, that room, let's meet this person, they can ask a question right then and be answered on the fly, which is awesome. DESTIR's been used for after hours in NASA for tours for people to log in. Museums have used DESTIR to log in after hours, to where you could literally set up a reserved time, log in and go see the arts at night when nobody's in the museum. So that's kind of awesome to use it that way, I think. And so NASA used it on their latest work with one of the shuttles, where you could after hours go in and they had a specific path you had to go. What's cool about it is we can program DESTIR however we want to. We're in total 100% control of the app. And so we can design, limit, open up tools that maybe is not there right now. So we can definitely do all of that. Other question? Yeah.
In the classroom, I have 4 students logged into. Now, what does this face look like?
It looks like, well, if I'm logged into DESTIR, it's my face. You're seeing my face.
Okay, so those 5 students, their 5 faces would be on the screen then?
Well, I could switch faces if I wanted to as a controller. I could switch faces face to face. I could go from one face to the other if I wanted to.
What will let you know that there's 5 students logged in?
The controller will see on the right side of their web browser all the students, and I can actually mute some if I want to. Or, I can mute all of them actually if I want to, and then just open them up when I need to. So, yeah. And sometimes you have to do that.
What is the student seeing on their end? They're hearing the instructor, but what are they seeing?
They're seeing the face of whoever's controlling DESTIR at the time. They're seeing that face. But like if you were controlling DESTIR right now, I would see your face and you hear your voice as you were wheeling around the room. So it's literally like the telepresence mean being somewhere you can't physically be is what DESTIR allows you to be.
You were what does the other side see? So it's the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, like on the student side.
Yeah.
There's 5 students.
Yeah, so the camera,
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing whatever the camera can.
Yeah, the student's going to see the entire, like in here, the students will see the entire room here, just like I'm seeing the room. And then you would see on the iPad screen myself, and then I can switch other faces if I want to, other students as well.
So you're controlling.
I can control, yeah. I can set it up that way to control. Correct. But I can send an invite like I did with Sam last night. Send an invite to anybody, and it's time stamped with a time range. When they click on the link, DESTIR wakes up. They're now in control of DESTIR. At the end of that time, it kills that session, and they're done. And I can't even limit movement. If I wanted, like for the disabilities workers or students, what we're going to do is we're going to disable forward and back and just have the left and right arrow keys available. That way they can do a 360 where they're at in the room. And then we'll disable some ability to go left, forward and back. That'll save them from crashing into a desk or something like that. So exactly, right.
But what's built into it?
What's built into the iPad? Well, it's whatever the iPad is you have. Like if you have the newest iPad, it can have up to like 512 gigs of RAM. It can take the newest iPad out.
So the
iPad's the brains of DESTIR. Yes, it drives the entire robot, right? And if you can picture like FaceTime or if you've used Skype, it's kind of like that technology controlling some wheels below it, really, is what it's doing. It's a pole. There's just a pole, and the engineers has two rubber sides to it that is constantly moving. If you've ever seen a Segway, the wheels are constantly doing this type of thing to keep steady. So there's an accelerometer in the wheels, and it also has a kickstand too. That way, if they're talking to somebody for a period of time, you can put the kickstand up on DESTIR to save battery life. Yeah.
So it connects to the lightning.
It does. It connects to the pole, and the pole is actually powering, the lithium battery is actually powering both the robotic wheels and the iPad both. Any other questions over here?
Where's
Dex, he's actually in my kitchen right now, being charged up with I've got a charger. It's an inductive charger that you literally don't have to be in. I could be remoting into somewhere in Florida with DESTIR, and I could drive them into my docking station, and nobody else would have to touch DESTIR. Would have to touch them to plug them in or whatever. And there's a mode on the iPad that allows you to, if the app was to freeze, which sometimes it has, it would automatically restart that app for you. And nobody else could get into any other app on the iPad but the double app. So, yeah. Great. Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Hope this was beneficial and got something out of it. And I'll send the